So today I want to talk about running playlists, and it's like a secret weapon when you're really struggling on a run. Keep on watching, keep on listening. Hope you find it a good one. Welcome back to consecutive day 1713 of a diary of a runpreneur. Today's topic is all about those sacred running playlists, your secret weapon when facing running adversity. But before we get into that, please don't forget that this is part of a fundraiser of saving the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, distance of a lap of the world, barefoot style. And the more people we get in front of, the more money we raise, the more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. So without further ado, back to the topic for on hand. So running playlists. Why am I talking about them today? Well, there's usually an underlying reason why I'm talking about everything, as this is ultimately a diary of a runpreneur, and inevitably I am a little bit cryptic in some of my diary entries, in stuff that I want people to know and what I don't want to know. But today is it's horrible running conditions today. It's a really strong wind. It feels like temperature is -1, and you've got this biting, cutting wind blowing across you. And look at the kind of light as well. It's really kind of grey, miserable, pretty tough to lift your spirits for a run like this, I might add. Obviously, if it was raining or possibly icy, it would only make it a little bit worse. But nonetheless, not a particularly enjoyable run. So quite often I find myself when facing a tricky or a run that I'm incredibly demotivated for, is I kind of dust off my sacred running playlist. Now, I have several of these, I might add. I usually kind of create one annually, really. But there are a few absolute belters and absolute classics that just get me moving, get my adrenaline flowing, get me pumped, makes me, bite down on that gum shield and keep on swinging, so to speak. And yeah, today's been one of those days, and one of my favourite playlists is actually a whole album, and it's the Rocky soundtrack. So those of you that were born in the 80s or grew up in the 80s and 90s, I think they were out as well, and I think the later versions even kind of kicked into the 21st century. But story about an American kind of bum, really, who has nothing to kind of live for, but gets into boxing, turns his life around. He's always the underdog, and he always finds a way, no matter what, to overcome that adversity. And that's why it's an all-time classic soundtrack for people working out, people exercising, people going through pain, and it can just give you one or two extra notches of energy, which can make all the difference. I will kind of come onto these topics a little bit more frequently, actually, because I'm constantly adding new tunes. But a couple of all-time favourites. I also, bizarrely, some people say that playlists are more about the beat, and for running in particular, running being very much a repetitive sport, if you can find one that has a beat that matches your kind of running cadence, the speed in which your legs and the distance in which your legs cover, then it can be really, really useful as a kind of aid and motivational to keep on running. But I prefer emotional songs that just get the hairs on the back of my neck standing up on edge, gets me pumped, gets me wanting to kind of give that extra few percent, which can make all the difference. And sometimes I find myself not going for the kind of heavy rock kind of power anthems, if you like, which so many associate with motivation in sport. I sometimes find myself going for more slower, sadder, emotional songs that may have kind of impacted my life in some capacity along the way, and I can draw upon those memories, those feelings to find strength. So there's lots of different ways you can kind of utilize music. Music is so powerful. Probably my all-time favorite. It was pretty significant in the Forrest Gump movie, which is obviously my favorite movie of all time. And that's Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac. Although it's not about running, it's obviously associated with running due to Forrest Gump, the movie, but it's actually to do with a kind of a breakup between Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. So it's completely different, but it means to so many people it means running, and Fleetwood Mac being one of my favourite bands is why it means more to me. I've got a lot of memories associated with that song. Another all-time classic and favourite of mine, another pretty obvious one, Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. An amazing song, and incredibly uplifting and powerful as a running song. But bizarrely, there's kind of more softer, emotional songs, like a song that means a huge amount to me personally is Love of My Life by Queen. We would put that being so low down as a potential running song, but whatever, it seems to give me a lift and a boost and lets me find an extra few steps or an extra bit of effort. So I think the learnings from my diary today is, when I say sacred running playlist, it's exactly what I mean. The word sacred is sacred to you. It's personal. Although there will be some absolute classics that will kind of resonate with most runners out there, there's going to be songs that just mean that little bit more to you. And if they do that and they give you that little bit of an extra boost, amazing. Use it to your advantage, because running's not for the faint-hearted. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's incredibly tough. And having that kind of secret weapon tune that you can pull out when you need it the most can sometimes make all the difference between finishing and not finishing. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about what running playlists and songs mean so much to you, but I've given you just a few of mine, and I'll keep this thread going and keep this conversation going kind of fairly frequently, as it's always interesting to hear other people's views. So anyway, that's it from me. Questions or comments, drop me a line. I'll respond to everyone. Do remember though, if you believe in my mission of saving the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, a distance of a lap of the world, barefoot style, do give this a subscribe, share, like and comment. More people we get in front of, more money we raise, and more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. Thank you as always. Stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you again tomorrow.